And welcome back. I may end up redoing this video if a few more spoilers come out. But for the time being, we've had the PAX West panel happen. And unfortunately, it wasn't live streamed. I'm bummed about that. I always enjoy that. Hopefully, we'll get some at the actual stream or the actual presentation online somewhere else later on. But we do have the cards that have been spoiled at the panel for Return to the Guilds of Ravnica, if you will. And I mean, I'll start with the headline and move from there. Well, first off, right off the bat, ShockLands return. I think everyone was hoping, and it kind of made sense because ShockLands were first introduced, if I'm not mistaken, in I believe they were introduced in the original Ravnica. And they made a return, I believe, and which one did they make? They made a return to Ravnica in that block. So it made sense they should return again. What I would love to see is the Kandru lands. If you don't remember, those are the lands that you have to return a land to your hand, but they automatically tap for one of each color mana. I love those lands. They always reprint those with the commander set, so I always get my hands on those. I always love those lands. Honestly, I personally find them more of a use than the ShockLands because, yeah, you get your double land on turn 1, but you got to pay life if you want to use it. And frankly, 2 life, depending on how the game structure goes and the format, that can kill you in the long run. Now, if you're getting a life gain deck or anything like that, something that'll rebound that's fine. If your opponent tends to be a little slow, that's good too. Ultimately, though, I use them, but I've never been huge on the I've never been on the same hype bandwagon of ShockLands as other people have. But our headliner at the moment right now is not Ral Zarek, Izzet Viceroy, but just Izzet Viceroy. I'm wondering why he got rid of the Zarek. I'm not sure, but he is a 5 loyalty planeswalker for one, and I know he's 5 because it showed it briefly in the card when I saw the image. And I'm gonna wait to upload this until I can maybe get a proper image, at least sometime tomorrow. If not, I'll find something to use for the upload. But I'm gonna be doing that too. Ral Zarek is Izzet Viceroy. Ral Izzet Viceroy is 1 blue, 1 red, and 3 of any color for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. Seems fine. +1, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, and the other into the graveyard. So right there, he's already giving you a card. And obviously with the new mechanic for the Izzet Guild, which is, I believe, Jumpstart, which you play cards from the graveyard for their mana cost. It's kind of like a different version of Flashback, only it's not quite as powerful, I would imagine, because it's both more powerful and less powerful because it's always going to be for the exact same mana cost as whatever it was, I'm guessing. And you got to discard a card with that too, so you do have that little downside. Still, regardless, sorry, I'm making sure my dad's not rolling because my dad's out right now. But no, that first ability is pretty solid. The minus ability, he deals damage equal to the total number of instants and sorceries in your own. Wait. That you own in exile and in your graveyard. See, if you get this guy out on turn 5, and you have to be in the Izzet build, spell heavy build to be running this guy. So, looking at it from the standpoint of how you're going to be running this guy, I would imagine you'll probably have at least 2 or 3 spells in your graveyard by that point, if not exiled in your graveyard. What I do like is it doesn't just single out the graveyard or the exile zone. You're using both. So no matter what you're doing, jump starting or just putting stuff in the graveyard, you will have a consistent amount going in there. So I think that's actually pretty solid. Only problem is that it is still a slow start. If you get him out and you only have 1 in there and you've got like a 3 body on the field with flying that can just plow into hammer you don't have any, and he's the only thing you can play, you don't have anything that can kill that 3 body. So it's situational, but I'm not saying I hate it. I'm saying that in a right build, it's a pretty solid effect. Last, -8. You get an emblem with whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, this emblem deals 4 damage to any target, and you draw 2 cards. If you can get to that, which to be honest, it starts at 5 loyalty from what I can tell, and it's a +1, so 4 turns. Can you allow him to survive? Can you basically save his ass long enough to get to 8 mana? Or 8 loyalty, so you can then activate that effect. Assuming you can get it off, that's a game winner, because you're going to obviously still have your cards with Jumpstart and things along those lines. You're going to be playing from your hand and from the graveyard. So you will be, honestly, in theory, assuming there is a instant or sorcery that has a 1 or 2 mana cost that has Jumpstart, which I have to assume there is. I mean, what's the one we have right now? 3 mana. But that's a rare card. So likely what's going to happen is you're going to see things more along the lines of 4 and 5 a lot of the time that have Jumpstart. I'm certain you'll have the more uncommon and rare. Maybe there might be even a mythic rare that has. Then again, no, I'm going to take that back. I don't think there's going to be a mythic rare because Ral's in the Izzet Guild. And then you got, that being said, a blue or red card may very well have that spot. So it's possible, assuming a Planeswalker's not occupying one of those spots. And you'll get 2 mythics usually in each color pair. It's always complicated when you get into the multicolor set ratio of mythics and things. But yeah, assuming there's something that costs 1 or 2 or just a cheapo one like that, like this card we're going to see later on, quasi-duplicate, excuse me. Then yeah, that thing's going to be a game killer because you'll be able to get like 4 damage off 1 card, draw 4 cards from that, and continue to just wreck someone. So absolutely, I can see that being playable. The question just is if you find that build a playable build. The other mythic rare we have spoiled is Underrealm Lich. 1 black, 1 green, and 3 of any color for a 4/3 zombie elf. If you would draw a card, instead look at the top 3 cards of your library. Excuse me. You may then put 1 of those cards into your hand, the rest in the graveyard. You may You may pay for life, and then this card gains indestructible until the end of turn, but tap it. See, I saw some people reacting to this card thinking like, this card's awesome. It's a good card. The 4 life might be a little steep. I'm going to have to assume that black and green have some solid life gain abilities in this deck, or in this set, sorry. Or you're using something from the last set. Because, again, 4 life can, once you get past 2, see, 2 life isn't a serious burn. That's why ShockLands, why I'm not as big on them. I still like them. 4 life, if you don't have it much in the way of life in your deck, that's a hefty cost. Once you get past something like 3 life, and even 3 life be pushing it, you're basically going through a 5th of your life. You're through 20% of your life. And that's assuming you've got full life when you're using that. Otherwise, you could be down to like 13 life, and then you get stuck with this indestructible card that taps itself when it becomes indestructible. That I'm not quite sure is what's going on with that. I mean, I'm guessing you can still just make it indestructible while it's tapped. Obviously, what people are really going to use this for, and what I would honestly probably use it for if I had it, would be its first ability. It's where you draw a card. Instead of drawing, you draw 3, put 1 card in your hand, the other in your graveyard. It's going to activate your... If you're using Dredge, use Dredge. Obviously, I think that effect's been banned mostly. If you're using Scavenge, which I like Scavenge, because I like big meaty monsters. It's to be used for that. But obviously, the effect for the Golgari is Undergrowth, which deals with the number of creatures in the grave. So that's going to be how you get your creatures in the grave a lot of the time. And honestly, I think it's a solid card. I mean, 4/3 for a 5 body, or 4/3 for 5 mana. That's not a terrible cost. It's got an effective draw ability, and it's got protection. It does have protection. It's just, I wouldn't want to pay the 4 mana for that unless I had some life gain there to compensate for that loss. That's my personal opinion. Thought Erasure is a sorcery that costs 1 black, 1 blue. Target opponent reveals their hand, and you choose a non-land card from it and discard it, and then you surveil for 1, which look at the top card library. You may put it into your graveyard. Essentially, it's Scry, but graveyard Scry. This card's fine. This card's good. You're going to be putting it in your builds for, getting stuff in your graveyard. Hey, it discards a card. So, it's a non-land card. It's not specifying anything beyond non-land. So, you're going to probably get rid of something regardless. So, yeah, it's a good card. I'd use it. Emmara, Soul of the... Oh, crap. Where's the full name of this thing? Soul of the Accord. Oh, we actually have a legitimate card now for it. Right on. They've now updated that. Great. And I will say, ever since they added the new Legend frame, I'm loving the new Legend frame. So, Emmara, Soul of the Accord. Now, I remember the other Emmara Tandris. Oh, man, that card's not good. That card's not good at all. In fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, what card was it? It was the, and I have the cards in one of my decks. It's that green, it's a white-green mythic rare 2/2, I think it is. That basically you activate, basically when an opponent plays a card during your turn or something like that, you get like a token. That was actually supposed to be her effect. Didn't end up that way, unfortunately. But now we have Emmara, Soul of the Accord, which is 1 green, 1 white for a 2/2 elf cleric legendary creature, rare. When it becomes tapped, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. That is a solid ability. Now she's a bear, so automatically she's playable. But the fact is, you tap her and you get a 1/1 soldier with lifelink, which means she actually, her being on the field and her attacking means that you're never defenseless, unless they got flyers, obviously, and then other stuff. But you're never actually defenseless. You'll always have at least 1 on the ground with her, which is really cool. Or I said 2 on the ground with her. As long as she can get at least 1 attack off, you're getting value out of her. That being said, late game, this card doesn't even do shit. Because late game, your opponent most likely is going to... Sorry, I'm just making sure. Again, my dad's not pulling in, interrupting the video. You're going to be sure that... Or, hell, wow, I just lost my train of thought with that. Late game, more than likely, your opponent's already going to have shit on the field. This card's not going to be a very effective late game. But unless you're able to equip it or something like that and pump it up. In which case, if you can, then it becomes a solid card. Then it becomes a pretty solid guy. Yeah, and all these cards. Okay, yeah, all these cards now have their all their cards updated now. I'm just gonna actually copying these right now. Sure, we'll use that for that. Thumbnails. Anywho, moving on. We have so yeah, it's a solid card in her part. What they made for her. Boros Challenger is a 1 white, 1 red human mentor. Oh, they haven't updated the card yet for this one. Human mentor, uncommon. Mentor, for those, just to remind people, is when this creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature with lower power. Boros Challenger gets +1/+1 until the end turn if you pay 1 white, 1 red, and 2 of any color. Again, the Mentor is a better version of Bolster because you can continue to activate because Boros is going to be the aggressive colors. But I can think of better. Again, this one unlike Emmara is later game. It actually has an effect going on because you can put mana into it at that point. Did we just get another card spoiled? 1 second here. I'm saying it's got an updated number here. What's the updated number? Oh, no, it doesn't. Sorry. Oh, now, there we go. Now we got some updated art here. So, it is better. Early game is not going to be doing much, honestly, except on target attacking creature with lower power. That's the problem. See, the one thing about Bolster I'll say it has over Mentor is that you could sometimes bolster the creature that had the ability on it with Bolster, if it was a creature that had it. You can't mentor your single creature. You always have to have a creature on the field. Yeah, in fact, you always have to have a creature. In fact, actually, Bolster has this is much more limiting than Bolster because it has to be on creatures with lower attack power than the creature with Mentor. So it is actually kind of limiting now that I'm looking at it again for a second time. But still, it's not the worst. Legion War Boss is a 1 red, 2 of any color Goblin Soldier with Mentor. Is a 2/2. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, create a 1/1 Goblin creature token that gains haste until the end of turn and attacks this combat if able. So essentially what you're doing is, hey, I'm going to swing, I'm going to create a 1/1 that can immediately attack and make it a 2/2. So you're making a quick, fast army of 2/2 goblins that are swinging in and attacking. Then you add something like a Goblin War Chief, or not War Chief, but anything that's a Goblin Lord, and you can quickly build up a little bit of an army there. But if things die, not much you can do. Problem is with the Boros so far I'm seeing is you're only really building up a legion of chump blockers. I mean, guys that'll get shit through, but once they put anything that's honestly a solid, for instance, if your opponent has an Impervious Great Worm on the battlefield, you can pump up all those little guys all you want. This thing, they're chump blockers at that point. Now, great, yeah, 1 giant worm versus an army, that's different. However, the point remains. So far, I'm not seeing anything that a 3/3 can't block these guys. Granted, we're only seeing, what, 18 of 259 cards? I'm certain we'll see some cards that are a bit meatier than those guys. Necrotic Wound, 1 black, has the ability Undergrowth. Target creature gets +X/+X until the end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard, and if it would die, exile it. Standard effect, it's okay. Sinister Sabotage. Basically, it's a cancel with Surveil 1. And essentially, it's a cancel with an upside, so it's immediately good. Quasi-Duplicate. Also actually has the same converted mana cost, 2 blue, 1 of any color. You create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. Then you jumpstart, create a copy of a target creature you control. Hypothetically, you could do that if you're later in the game and you've got a big blue monster, which those things are not as uncommon as you may think. Then, yeah, you can just play big blue monster and make 2 copies of that. And then you have 3 big blue monsters. So, yeah, it's not terrible at all. Any cheap token clone making effect is usually a pretty solid effect. Is it Narcomoeba? Narcomoeba. I think actually that's a reprint now that I think about that. It's a flying 1/1 illusion that when it's put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may put it into the When it's put into the graveyard from your library, you may put it into the battlefield. So, it's a rare card. I get what it is. I get why it's there. Surveil. You're going to go through your deck. You're going to see this thing. You're going to put it in your graveyard, and you're going to immediately bring it to the field. A 1/1 chump flyer. Kind of see where my problem is with this. And then, let's say you have a 1/1 flyer that does nothing in your hand. Which, to be fair, for 2 mana. If it were at least 1 mana, that'd be different. And then I could at least see, hey, if nothing else, if I get it on my opening hand, I can open up with a 1/1 flyer that can at least get 1 or 2 pings of damage off in the few opening turns. I don't see this as unless you're in the specific build of putting shit in your graveyard, this card is not good. This card's honestly not that good. I mean, a 1/1 flyer for 2 is never terrible. Anything with flying is okay. Generally speaking, as long as it doesn't have a negative effect, which just doesn't. But still, it's not that great. It really isn't. So rare, I don't get why rare. Uncommon would have been a better rarity level, I think, for that. But yeah, not my cup of tea. Last but not least, we have Conclave Tribunal. 1 white, 3 of any color for an enchantment with Convoke. So right off the bat, we're seeing Convoke not on just creatures, we're seeing it on something else. Granted, it already did exist on other things besides creatures, but it was mostly on creatures as far as I remember. Actually, no, I take that back. We're seeing it on enchantment. I don't recall seeing it on enchantment, so there's my surprise. Obviously, Convoke, tap creatures, makes it cost less. Enters the battlefield. Target exile. Target non-land permanent an opponent controls until this card leaves the battlefield. So essentially, you have a not Path of Exile, an Oblivion Ring. You have an Oblivion Ring is what it is. And for 4, but with Convoke, assuming you're still going to be making tokens in this guild, which I would hope you are, because that has always been a big thing with Celestia, is like making tokens, particularly like Saprolings. Otherwise, otherwise I think you'll probably be lucky to see it. I mean, look, I have to think of it in terms of a casual and as a limited player, because that's what I do. And particularly in a sealed event like a pre-release. In a sealed event like a pre-release, that will probably be at least a little slow, just because of getting proper mana. I can see you having maybe 1, maybe 2. And in that case, then you have an O-Ring, which for its normal price, I believe. Actually, no, I think it's I think that's Oblivion Ring is 2 mana. If not, it's like 3 mana. Point being, then it becomes just an O-Ring, which is fine. An O-Ring's always good. I use O-Rings. Otherwise, it's a little on the pricey side. And even though you tap it for 3, then it's still okay. But those are the cards I had spoiled from PAX West. Now, if we have any more spoiled by tomorrow, I'll update those as well. But for now, those are my thoughts on that. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.